The night was quiet. The ruined city slept under a broken sky. Tall towers once filled with light now stood in silence, their windows cracked, their walls covered in dust. Among the shadows walked a young human boy named Eric, his footsteps soft. On the empty streets, he often wandered here after dark, searching for scraps of metal and lost memories of a world before war. But that night felt different. The air was heavier. The wind whispered in strange tones, and Eric felt as if someone was watching him. He stopped near an old fountain, its water long dried, and for a moment he thought he saw a flash of light, not from a lamp or star, but something alive. From the shadow stepped a girl. Her figure was slim, her eyes glowing faintly like silver moons. She looked human at first glance, but there was something unearthly in the way she moved. As if gravity itself bent gently around her, Eric froze, unsure if she was real or just another ghost of the city. "Who are you?" he asked carefully, his voice trembling. The girl tilted her head, her lips curved into the faintest smile. "A traveler," she whispered, her words carrying a strange rhythm, like music that was not made for human ears. Eric's heart pounded. He had never seen anyone like her. Not in the city, not in the stories told by survivors. He noticed her. Skin glowed faintly under the moonlight, and her hair shimmered like strands of starlight. "I should go," Eric muttered, stepping back. But the girl reached out, her hand stopping him. Her touch was warm, yet a current of energy rushed through him, leaving the faint glowing mark on his wrist. "What is this?" he asked, staring at the strange symbol pulsing on his skin. The girl's eyes darkened for a moment, her smile fading. "A mistake," she whispered. "You were not supposed to see me." Eric stepped closer now, curiosity stronger than fear. "You are not human, are you?" The silence between them was heavy, broken only by the sound of the wind moving through the ruined buildings. Finally, she shook her head. "No," she said softly. "I am not." The words sent a chill down Eric's spine. Yet, instead of running, he found himself drawn closer. Something in her presence felt both dangerous and beautiful, as if she carried secrets too large for one world to hold. "Why are you here?" he asked. The girl's gaze lifted toward the stars, her eyes reflecting distant galaxies. "Because sometimes the heart takes us where we are forbidden to go," she said. Eric frowned, not fully understanding her meaning, but he felt it, an invisible thread pulling them together, something stronger than fear, something that made his chest ache with both wonder and dread. Behind them, a shadow moved. Eric turned quickly but saw nothing, only the broken walls and empty streets. Yet the girl's eyes narrowed, her body tense. "We are not alone," she whispered. Her words were sharp, urgent. Eric's pulse quickened. He wanted to ask who was there, but before he could, the girl placed a finger to his lips. Her touch was gentle but filled with warning. "Do not speak," she said. "They are listening." He looked around again but saw nothing, just the hollow city stretching endlessly. "Who is listening?" he finally asked, but the girl did not answer. Instead, she grabbed his hand and pulled him into the darkness of a collapsed building. Inside, the air was thick with dust. Eric could hear his own breathing, fast and shallow. The girl held him close, her eyes fixed on the shattered window. A faint hum vibrated in the distance, like the wings of some enormous machine. "They are searching," she said, barely a whisper. "If they find me here, if they see you with me, it will mean the end." "The end of what?" Eric asked, still confused. The girl's eyes met his, and for the first time, he saw fear inside them, not just mystery. "The end of you. The end of this world," she answered. Eric's body went cold. The words cut through him like a blade. He wanted to ask more, but the hum outside grew louder. Flashing lights moved across the ruins, sweeping like predators in the night. The girl pressed his hand tighter. "Promise me you will not speak of this," she said. Her silver eyes glowed brighter now. "Promise me, Eric." He swallowed hard, nodding without question. He did not understand who she was or what danger followed her, But something deep inside told him she was telling the truth. For a long moment, they stayed hidden. The lights passed, the hum faded, and silence returned to the city. The girl finally stepped back, her breath uneven. "I should not have come," she whispered. "But fate has already tied us together." Eric stared at her, his wrist still glowing with the strange mark she had left. He did not know what it meant, but he felt it was the beginning of something much larger, something the universe itself did not want. The girl turned to leave, but paused at the doorway. "Remember this night," she said softly. "It will change everything." And before Eric could answer, she was gone, vanishing into the shadows, leaving him alone with a glowing mark on his skin and 1,000 questions burning in his heart. Days passed since the strange night in the ruined city, but Eric could not forget her. The glowing mark on his wrist had not faded. It pulsed faintly under his skin like a heartbeat that did not belong to him. Every time he looked at it, he remembered her silver eyes and her final words. "Remember this night, it will change everything." Eric tried to convince himself it was a dream, but dreams did not leave scars. Dreams did not hum with power when he touched them. He knew she was real, and deep inside, he wanted to see her again. On the 5th night, his wish came true. He returned to the broken fountain where they first met, and there she was, standing in the shadows. Her presence was both calming and terrifying. The air around her shimmered faintly, as if reality itself bent to her being. "You came back," Eric said softly. The girl tilted her head, her hair glowing faintly under the moon. "And so did you," she replied. They stood in silence for a long moment, neither knowing what to say. The bond between them had already begun. Invisible yet undeniable, Eric finally asked, "What is your name?" She hesitated, her lips trembling as if the answer itself carried danger. "Leora," she whispered, "but you must never speak it aloud when others are near." "Others," Eric repeated, frowning. "You mean?" "The ones who were searching for you," she nodded slowly. "They are watchers, guardians of the old laws. If they find out that I have spoken with you, touched you, left my mark upon you." Her voice broke, and for the first time, Eric saw pain in her expression. "They will destroy us both." Eric's heart thumped. He wanted to step back, to free himself from this strange danger, but instead, he stepped closer. His curiosity was stronger than his fear. "Why me? Why here?" Leora looked away, her silver eyes shining with a sadness too heavy for her young face. "Because I was drawn to you. Humans are forbidden to us. Yet I could not stay away. I should never have touched you, never have left my mark. But you did," Eric said, lifting his wrist, the glowing symbol pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. "And now I can feel you, even when you're not here." Her breath caught. The truth was clear. Whatever bond had been created between them, it was no accident. It was alive, pulling them together. "You don't understand," she said sharply. "Love between a human and my kind is forbidden, not just by law, but by the universe itself. If we continue this, the stars will turn against us." Eric almost laughed, not because it was funny, but because it sounded impossible. "The stars," he whispered. "What could the stars do to us?" Leora's eyes hardened. "They will erase you, erase everything you love. That is the price of breaking the oldest rule." Eric shook his head. "Then let them try. I don't care what law says. I don't care what the stars say. You're here. I'm here. That's all that matters." For a moment, she simply stared at him, stunned by his words. No one had ever spoken like that to her before, not even among her own people. Humans were supposed to be weak, fragile, obedient to the will of the greater powers. But this boy stood before her unafraid. Her lips trembled, a soft whisper escaping. "You don't know what you're saying." Eric smiled faintly. "Maybe not, but I know what I'm feeling." The silence between them grew heavy, charged with something more dangerous than fear. Their eyes locked, and in that moment, the bond deepened. The universe might have refused them, but their hearts had already chosen. Suddenly, A sharp crack echoed through the ruins. A light swept across the broken walls. Voices carried in the wind. Leora's face went pale. "They're here," she whispered. Eric turned, seeing distant shadows moving closer. "Then run with me," he said quickly, but Leora did not move. "If they see us together, they will mark you as cursed. You will not survive it." Eric grabbed her hand without hesitation. "Then let me be cursed. I'd rather face them with you than hide alone." Her silver eyes widened, torn between fear and something deeper. In that moment, she realized he was different from any human she had ever known. He was willing to stand against the universe itself. The voices grew louder, the lights brighter. Their bond had already sealed their fate. Whether they ran or stayed, whether they hid or fought, the forbidden love between them was now written into the stars. And as the patrol closed in, the night trembled, carrying with it the weight of a love that could not be allowed. The ruined city was no longer silent. Somewhere in the distance, the air carried the sound of heavy wings. Though no bird had flown in these skies for years, Eric and Leora hid within the hollow shell of an old library, its shelves broken, its books turned to dust. The glow of the mark on Eric's wrist dimmed, but it still throbbed faintly, like a secret beacon calling to something unseen. "They are close," Leora whispered. Her voice was steady, but her hands trembled slightly. Eric could feel her fear, and it made the air around them thick, almost suffocating. "Who are they?" he asked, trying to peer through the cracks in the wall. He saw nothing but shadows moving against the ruins. "They are the Watchers," she said, "guardians of the old law. They live only to hunt those who break it." Her words echoed inside him. The Watchers. The name itself felt cursed. Eric's heart raced. He had always thought the worst dangers were hunger, disease, or raiders that roamed the broken cities. But this was something larger, something ancient and unseen. From outside came a low hum. The ground shivered beneath their feet. Leora gripped his hand, her silver eyes glowing in the dark. "Do not look at them if they appear," she said. "Their gaze is death. Their voices can chain your soul." Eric swallowed hard. He wanted to ask more, but before he could, the shadows outside grew longer, stretching unnaturally as if the night itself bent to their will. Through the broken window he saw them, dark shapes moving silently, not walking but gliding. Their forms were cloaked in shifting smoke, their faces hidden, only their eyes visible, burning like cold white flames. Eric froze, his breath caught in his throat. Every instinct screamed at him to run, but his legs felt heavy, locked in place. Leora pulled him down behind the fallen shelves, holding him close. Her whisper was sharp and urgent. "Do not move. Do not even breathe too loud." The Watchers drifted past. Their voices were not words but whispers, like 1,000 broken echoes twisting together. The sound made Eric's headache, and for a moment he felt as if they were crawling inside his mind. One of them stopped. Its glowing eyes turned toward the library. The air grew colder. Eric's skin prickled. The mark on his wrist burned suddenly, glowing brighter than before. Leora gasped softly. She pressed her hand over his wrist, trying to smother the light. Her expression was filled with terror. "They can sense it," she whispered. Eric looked at her, confused. "Sense what?" "The bond," she said. "They know it has begun." The Watcher's head tilted unnaturally, its gaze fixed on the faint glow behind the wall. For a moment, Eric thought it would enter, that their lives would end there. But then, a sharp cry rang out from the distance, like the call of some great beast. The Watchers turned as one, their forms twisting, and in an instant, they vanished into the shadows. Silence returned. But it was not the silence of peace. It was the silence of something unfinished, something waiting. Eric leaned against the wall, his chest heaving. "They were looking for you," he said. "Weren't they?" Leora shook her head slowly, her eyes heavy with sorrow. "No," she whispered. "They were looking for us." Her words cut through him. He felt the truth in them. The Watchers were not simply after her. They wanted to erase the bond between them, to destroy what had already begun to grow. Eric clenched his fists. Then let them come, he said, his voice hard. I won't let them take you. Leora's lips trembled. Her eyes softened, as if his defiance both frightened and warmed her. You don't understand, Eric. The universe itself will fight us. The Watchers are only the beginning. The mark on his wrist pulsed again. Brighter this time. Eric looked at it, then back at her. Then let the universe come too, he said. Because I won't let go. Leora's eyes shone with something new, a fragile hope buried under fear. She reached out, her hand resting against his cheek. If we fight this, Eric, there's no turning back. He nodded, his voice steady. I don't want to turn back. And in the ruined library, with the shadows still whispering outside, the bond between a human and an alien deepened. A bond the Watchers had sworn to erase. A bond the universe itself had already refused to accept. Asterisk. The next morning brought no comfort. The sun rose weakly over the ruins, its light pale and broken by the dust-filled sky. Eric sat near the old fountain, his eyes fixed on the glowing mark that now refused to fade. It pulsed stronger with each passing day, tying him to Leora in ways he did not understand. Leora appeared silently as always, stepping out from the shadows. Her silver eyes carried both beauty and sorrow. She looked at the mark on his wrist and shook her head. It has already grown, she whispered. What has grown? Eric asked. The bond, she said. It was never meant to happen. But now that it has, there will be a price. There is always a price. Eric frowned. A price for what? For caring about you. Her gaze turned cold. Not because she was angry, but because the truth weighed heavily on her heart. For breaking the first law of the stars, she said. No alien may love a human. No human may touch one of us. Those who try will bring ruin, not only upon themselves, but upon entire worlds. The words hit him like a storm. He wanted to laugh at the absurdity, but the memory of the Watchers, their burning eyes and haunting whispers, silenced his doubt. He knew she was telling the truth. So what happens if we ignore it? He asked, his voice sharp. What if we choose to stay together anyway? Her lips trembled. Then Earth will burn. My people will make sure of it. They will see your kind as corrupted, unworthy to exist. Eric's chest tightened. His home may have been broken, his world scarred by war, but it was still his world, his people, his memories, his blood were here. The thought of losing it all because of something as simple, as pure, as love, it filled him with fury. You call this a law, he said bitterly. But it's a curse. It's nothing but chains. Leora lowered her head. Her voice cracked. It is older than me, older than my people. The law was written when the stars themselves were young. It is said that the first time a bond formed between alien and human, the skies tore open and millions died. Eric's eyes narrowed. Then maybe the stars were afraid. Maybe they feared something stronger than them. His words stunned her. For a long moment she simply stared, her silver eyes searching his. You speak as if love is greater than the universe itself, she whispered. Eric leaned closer, his voice low but steady. Maybe it is. Her breath caught. A war raged inside her, between her duty and her heart, between fear of destruction and the longing she could not deny. For days she had told herself to stay away, to erase the bond before it grew stronger. Yet here she was again, unable to turn back. You do not understand, she said finally. If we are discovered, they will not kill us quickly. They will use us as an example. You will suffer, I will suffer, and Earth will pay the ultimate price. Eric clenched his fists. Then let them try. I will not let anyone decide who I can care for. Not them, not the stars, not even you. Her eyes filled with tears that did not fall. She wanted to believe him. But the weight of history pressed heavily on her shoulders. Every story she had ever been told warned her of this moment. Every law she had ever followed screamed at her to leave him, yet every beat of her heart pulled her closer. Do you even "Know what you are saying," she whispered. "Yes," Eric answered firmly. "I'm saying you are worth the risk." The silence between them was heavy, filled with danger and unspoken promises. And in that silence, the bond deepened further, more dangerous than before. But outside the ruins, the shadows were moving again. The watchers were not far. Their whispers spread through the wind. Their hunger sharper now. The bond was no longer hidden. The universe itself was stirring. Eric and Leora stood side by side, knowing the truth at last. Their love was not just forbidden, it was a threat, a spark that could burn entire worlds. And as the night drew near, they realized the terrible truth. The price of love was not only their lives, it was the fate of humanity itself. The night cracked open with fire. The ruins lit up as beams of white light cut through the darkness. The watchers had returned, but this time they did not search slowly. They descended like hunters who had already marked their prey. Eric grabbed Leora's hand, his heart pounding. "We have to move," he said. Her silver eyes flickered with fear, but she nodded. Together they ran through the broken streets, their footsteps echoing like thunder in the silence of the dead city. Behind them, shadows glided across the walls. The watchers were faster than anything human. Their whispers grew louder, crawling inside Eric's mind. Threatening to tear it apart, he pressed forward, every muscle screaming. Yet the fire in his chest pushed him on. "Where are we going?" Eric shouted, his voice almost drowned by the hum that filled the sky. "To the edge of the city," Leora answered, breathless. "There is a gate hidden there. If we reach it, we may escape them." Eric did not question her. He only ran. Every step felt like a war against the universe itself. A beam of white light struck the ground beside him, exploding the stone into dust. He stumbled, but Leora pulled him back to his feet. "Don't stop," she cried. Her strength was strange, almost otherworldly, but her grip was desperate. They turned down an alley, the shadows chasing closer. Eric risked a glance back. He saw one of the watchers clearly now, its form shifting like smoke, its eyes burning through the night. His chest tightened with terror, but he forced himself to keep moving. The alley ended at a collapsed bridge. Beyond it was nothing but a black abyss. Eric stopped, his chest heaving. "There's no way across," he said. Leora's eyes glowed brighter. "There is," she whispered. She raised her hand, and the air itself shimmered. For a moment, a glowing path of light stretched across the darkness, fragile and trembling like glass. Eric stared. "That won't hold. It will if you believe," she said sharply. Her voice was steady, commanding. He looked into her eyes and knew there was no choice. Together they stepped onto the light. The ground beneath them wavered. Every step felt like walking on air. The watchers closed in, their whispers sharp, their presence cold. One of them lunged, its hand stretching forward like a claw of smoke. The light bridge cracked. Eric almost fell, but Leora pulled him forward. Her strength was failing. The mark on his wrist burned brighter, glowing like fire. For a moment, the bridge strengthened. Solid under their feet, they reached the other side just as the bridge shattered into nothing. The watchers howled, their voices splitting the night, but they could not cross. Eric collapsed to his knees, gasping for breath. Leora stood above him, her face pale and shaken. "We can't keep running forever," he said between breaths. "No," she whispered, "but we must try. The stars will not forgive us. The watchers will never stop. We are enemies of the law now, enemies of the universe itself." Eric rose, his fists clenched. "Then let the universe chase us. We'll give them a fight they'll never forget." Her silver eyes softened, filled with both fear and something like admiration. "You don't understand, Eric, too. Run with me means to run until the end of your life." He stepped closer, the fire in his eyes unbroken. "Then I'll run," he said, "as long as it's with you." And so they moved again, deeper into the ruins, away from the broken bridge, chased not only by shadows but by fate itself. The watchers lingered on the other side, their whispers rising into the night, a promise that this was only the beginning. The chase had left scars, but it had also left proof. No law, no shadow, no star could break what had already formed between them. The bond was alive, defiant, and growing stronger with every step. And as they disappeared into the endless dark, the universe trembled. Asterisk, the ruins could no longer hide them. The Watchers had spread their whispers across the sky. And soon the entire alien council knew Leora and Eric had broken the oldest law. Their bond was no longer secret. It was a fire too bright to remain unseen. A ship descended from the heavens, silent yet powerful. Its body was shaped like a blade of silver, glowing with energy that made the earth tremble. Leora's face grew pale as she looked up. "They have come," she whispered. "The High Council has sent their judgment." Eric stood beside her, his fists clenched. His heart pounded, but his voice was steady. "Then let them speak. I won't run anymore." The ship opened, and figures emerged, cloaked in light. Their forms were tall, their faces hidden behind masks of crystal. They did not walk, they floated above the ground. Their voices boomed together, echoing like thunder. "Leora, daughter of the stars, you have broken the sacred law." Leora bowed, her head, her voice trembling. "I accept my crime." But Eric stepped forward, his voice sharp. "She is guilty of nothing. It was me. I chose her. I would rather die than let you punish her." The council's cold gaze turned toward him, their words cut like ice. "A human dares to speak. Your kind has no place in the laws of the stars. You are dust beneath the sky." Eric did not move. His wrist glowed with the mark, pulsing in rhythm with Leora's heartbeat. "Maybe I am dust," he said, "but I will not let you erase her. Not for loving, not for feeling what no law can kill." Leora's eyes filled with tears. Her heart ached as she watched him defy powers far beyond him. She wanted to protect him, but she knew the choice was not hers alone. The council's voice rose again. "Leora, you have one path left. Abandon the human and return to the stars. And Earth will be spared. Choose him, and your world will burn. The fate of billions rests on your decision." The silence that followed was heavy. The air itself seemed to stop. Eric turned to her, his eyes steady. "Don't do it," he said softly. "Don't choose me. If saving Earth means letting me go, then let me go. I can live with my death, but not with the death of your people in mine." Leora shook her head, tears slipping down her cheeks. "You don't understand. I cannot let them take you. I cannot let them erase what we found." Her heart screamed with war. Duty or love, worlds or one soul, the weight crushed her. Yet the bond in her chest burned brighter than the stars above. The council raised their hands, their power gathering like a storm. "Choose now, child of the stars." Leora stepped forward, her body trembling, her silver eyes locked on Eric. "I choose," she whispered. Her voice broke, the words heavy with both love and doom. Eric shook his head. "No, Leora. Don't sacrifice yourself for me. I won't let you." But she smiled faintly, a sad smile filled with both pain and beauty. "It's too late, Eric. My heart chose you the night we met." And in that moment, her body lit with pure light. The mark on Eric's wrist blazed like fire. The bond was no longer hidden, it was complete. The council cried out in fury. The stars above roared, the ground shook, the universe itself seemed to break. But Leora did not look away. She held Eric's face in her hands, her silver eyes glowing like galaxies. "Remember me," she whispered, "because love is the only law worth breaking." And then the choice was made, not with words, but with sacrifice, a choice that would echo through the stars forever. The sky cracked open with light, the council's fury poured like fire, and the ruins trembled as if the earth itself could no longer carry the weight of their law. Leora stood at the center, her body glowing brighter than the ship above, brighter than the broken stars beyond. Eric shielded his eyes, but he would not leave her side. The mark on his wrist burned so fiercely that it felt like part of his soul was being ripped apart. Yet he did not cry, he did not run. He stood with her until the very end. The council raised their hands, voices thundering across the heavens. You have broken the first law, and for this your bond must be erased. But Leora's voice rose above theirs, soft yet stronger than all of them combined. No law can erase love, she whispered. Not even the stars. Her light surged. Her body dissolved into a cascade of silver fire, flowing into Eric's chest. For a moment, he felt her heart beating inside his own. He felt her voice, her laughter, her tears, all rushing into him. She was no longer standing before him, she was within him. The council screamed in anger. Their light struck down, but instead of destroying him, the fire shattered upon the bond they had sealed. The mark on his wrist spread across his body, glowing like veins of starlight. He was still human, yet something more. The watchers howled and vanished. The shadows torn apart. The sky darkened, and the ship cracked under its own weight. The council faded, their law broken by something they could not control. Silence returned. The ruins stood still. But Eric collapsed to his knees, his chest heaving. His arms reached into the empty air where she once stood. Leora, he whispered. His voice broke. Don't leave me. There was no answer, only the echo of her warmth inside him. He pressed his glowing wrist against his chest, and for a moment he felt her, faint but real, a whisper in his soul. I am here. Her voice echoed softly within him. Not in the stars, not in the shadows, but in you. Tears rolled down his face. He looked up at the night sky, where the stars now shimmered differently, as if they too had been changed by her choice. For the first time, they did not look cold or distant. They looked alive, burning with the memory of a love they could not destroy. Eric rose slowly, his body weak but his spirit unbroken. He walked through the ruins, each step carrying both pain and purpose. The universe had tried to erase them, but instead, their love had carved a scar into the stars themselves. And as he reached the edge of the city, the dawn broke across the horizon. The first true light in years, warm and golden. Eric whispered her name again, not as a cry of loss, but as a promise, Leora. And somewhere, across the endless night, the universe trembled. For love had done what no war, no law, no star had ever done. It had changed everything.